Lee, let's talk about writing partnerships.
Sure.
And is it like finding a good roommate? Is it nothing like that?
No, it's like buying a house together and committing to living in it for the rest of your life.
Okay.
Writing partnerships are mostly tragic. They mostly end in divorce. I do work with a couple of partnerships that have been consistent through the years, that have been successful, but it's 2 writing partnerships that have lasted from the dozens that I've seen break up over the years, some of which were quite successful together. So if you choose to participate in a writing partnership, you have to really understand what it means to you, to your body of work. Effectively, the moment that you hit with a script written in partnership with another person, everything else that will be expected of you will be expected in cooperation, in partnership with this other person, because you and this other person have been able to create the secret sauce that made a great script, that birthed a beautiful child, if you will. And so when you consider writing partnerships, you really want to consider what it means for your body of work. Are you willing to discard your previous body of work or not do anything with it should you hit in a partnership? Are you really willing to write more than one project with that writing partner? Because an agent or a manager is going to take on the partnership, not an individual writer. Oftentimes they're not going to want to get involved in the drama of a partnership breaking up. That can be very unattractive. I have a TV writing partnership that just broke up, that the agent told the 2 writers who broke up, either I take both of you on individually or I take neither one of you on individually. So even broken up, the writers both had to make sure the other impressed in order to keep the agent for both of them, or else they both lose, because the agent just didn't want to get involved in the politics. She didn't want to have to choose. So you really have to consider whether you and the writing partner want to write the same sort of material, if you have the same vision. So if one wants to write film and the other wants to write TV, and that's all you want to write, that's going to be a problem. The times that you can really vacillate in and out of a partnership is if you're writing together on television, but you're writing alone in film. Then you have a little bit more wiggle room. But in general, I find that reps want to either rep the team or the individuals, not both. It's the same with producers, who want to work with the team who brought them a beautiful previous project. So you really have to consider what the partnership is, what the partners bring into the partnership. So you really want to think about, how does the partnership balance out? Are we good with the distribution of work? Are we going to be good for the next 10 years? Because if one writer is doing the heavy lifting and the other is just giving notes, are you going to feel okay about it in 5 years when your writing partner is collecting 50% of your money just for giving notes? Do you have a common vision for what it is you want to write in 10 years in terms of genre, in terms of the space you want to be in? All of those things have to be thought through. You certainly want to get the terms of the partnership on paper. Because the truth of the matter is most partnerships do go south.
Well, I'm thinking of what I like to call the 2 Steves, Wozniak and Jobs. So you look at, if it was 2 Steve Jobs, it wouldn't have worked. But because they both had these different skill sets, it worked.
Yeah.
And so 2 writers have almost got to be polar opposites, don't you think, for it to work?
They have to complement one another. They have to supplement where the other is weaker. They have to bring the best out of each other. They have to push each other. They have to be able to fight. Mm-hmm. Certainly you don't want 2 writers who do the exact same thing together.
Right.
Because then, is the partnership the sum of its parts, or is it less than that? So you want writers who complement one another where the other is weak.
Right. Interesting. Do you think people really know that when they first meet someone?
No. A lot of writers that I find tend to look to writing partnerships because they don't want to write alone anymore, because it's just comforting to have somebody waiting for pages on the other side of things, because they're finding that it's getting tougher and tougher for them to push a script through. So why don't I do it with a writing partner? I find that most writers go to partnerships that way without taking a step back and saying, am I really ready to step into a creative marriage here? Some of them do, most of them don't. I've had partnerships who sold multi-million-dollar scripts and then broke up because the relationship was so difficult.
Why at that point?
Because the writers can't stand each other at that point, because they hate each other, because they couldn't think less of each other's creative talents, because it was never a positive relationship to start with. Potentially, I had one relationship that had a feature film get greenlit, where the two writers just could not get along. One was incredibly abusive and condescending and kept insisting that he was doing all of the work when the other was really doing the brunt of the work. Just didn't want to go through that again. So I've seen writing partnerships break up with a lot to lose. And I think it's not for nothing. Like I said, I've also seen writing partnerships succeed, but I think it's where the partnerships come together with a point of view of doing this together for the long haul, as opposed to, let's try it out. Really thinking about it as a long-term relationship, as opposed to, we'll test the waters and then consider.